Right, thermodynamic system. What is a thermodynamic system? A thermodynamic system is some space which we are studying. A system always has a boundary. So I can define a system with two words. I will say some space and boundary. Here we have a system which is some space which we are studying, and it has a boundary. Everything external to the system is called surrounding. So boundary separates system from surrounding. What is the example of a system? This glass of water is an example of a system where it has a boundary and atmospheric air is the surrounding. Two glass of water can be a one system and atmospheric air is the surrounding, or one of the glass of water is a system and the other glass of water is a surrounding. So what defines a system? It completely depends on what you are studying. Open system. For open system, both mass and energy can cross the system boundary. Here we have an open system where mass and energy can cross the boundary of the system. So system and surrounding can exchange mass and energy. Mass and energy exchange can also be possible from surrounding to system. This cup of coffee is an example of an open system where mass and energy can cross the boundary of the system. If you add a hot milk to this coffee cup, mass crosses the boundary of the system. And when this hot milk loses heat to the surrounding air, energy crosses the boundary of the system. Another example of an open system is a heat exchanger coil. This is a system where a cold water enters the heat exchanger coil and absorbs heat from the air which is flowing over this coil. The water then leaves the system as a hot water. In this system, the cold water entering the system and the hot water leaving the system is defined as the mass transfer. And the heat exchange between cold water and the surrounding air which is flowing over this coil is defined as the energy transfer. Closed system. For a closed system, only energy can cross the boundary of the system. Mass cannot cross the boundary of the system, and that's why it is called as a fixed mass system. Here we have a closed system where only energy can cross the boundary of the system and mass is constant. So it is a fixed mass system. What is the example of a closed system? A sealed soft drink can or a sealed water bottle is an example of a closed system. In this example, mass of the liquid inside remains the same, but the can still get cold and warm by exchanging heat with the surrounding air. For this example, we cannot add any mass to this system or we cannot remove any mass from this system. But the liquid inside this system can still exchange heat with the surrounding air. Alright, last system, isolated system. For isolated system, neither mass nor energy can cross the boundary of the system. There is no interaction between system and surrounding. Here we have an isolated system. There is no energy interaction. There is no mass interaction between system and surrounding. It is also called as a fixed mass, fixed energy system. A thermoflask is an example of an isolated system. So the fluid inside the flask can be defined as an isolated system. If there is no energy and mass interaction with the surrounding, the properties of the fluid inside the flask will not change with respect to time. What is the main property that we are looking for? Temperature. So the temperature of the fluid inside the flask will not change with respect to time. So if you have a hot coffee inside this flask, it will maintain its temperature for a long time. Quick question time. What type of system is the pressure cooker? Please let me know your answers in comments. This is the end of this video. If you found this video helpful, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.